Buonasera. I cooked a joint of ham the other day, and I did it for about 40 minutes in water, covered it in water and boiled it. Then I finished cooking it in the oven for another 45 minutes. And we had actually had that with fried eggs and French fried chips, sort of a style.
Delicious
and
it was
they were
as
lovely,
well.
absolutely delicious. We dipped it. Anyway, I am digressing. The reason why I'm mentioning that is because I kept the water, and this is gammon water or ham water, and today I have cooked with the water my beans, borlotti beans, and I'll be making sausages and beans. This is a very authentic traditional Italian dish. It's quite sloppy but absolutely delicious. Let's weigh the beans now that they're cooked. They weigh, well, just under 600 grams. When I started, they were 250 grams, so more than double in weight. When I started cooking them this morning and I used my ham water, the ham water was cold, but of course you can also use cold water. They weigh 250 grams. And the way I cooked them was just one bay leaf, no salt. I did have a gammon water, which was salt anyway, but you can add a little salt if you use water. And I took them to the boil. Once they reached the boil, I let them simmer for a good hour. Now, depending on what type of beans you're using, could be less, could be more. But in my case, because they were borlotti beans and they were quite big, 1 hour, that was plenty. Okay. I am preparing the base of a soffritto, and I chopped 1 carrot, 1 stick of celery and a couple of cloves of garlic. Instead of onions, today I fancy using a leek. By all means, you can use an onion and that would be wonderful, but I'm using a leek because I think it will be sweeter and it will release a little bit more flavor in this dish. But this is a little bit too much. I'm not going to throw this away, I'll keep it for something else. I'll just use this part here, so I'll just chop it in half and I'll cut in small pieces just like the rest of the other vegetables. Lastly, a chili pepper. This is a mild red chili pepper, and as it is mild, I'm going to use it all, seeds included. And I'll do it in small pieces as well. Olive oil, only a tiny little amount because the sausages will release quite a little bit of fat, so literally just a smidgen. And whilst everything is still cold, I pick all of my vegetables and add them to my pan. Alongside the beans, clearly another key ingredient for this dish is the sausages, and these are 4 wonderful large sausages. We haven't actually never tried these, but I have removed the brand. They are effectively cheese and onion with pork, of course. It's going to be the first time I cook them, but I'm sure they're going to be absolutely excellent. Oh look, they all come together. That's interesting. Don't know why.
Because they're sausages, dear.
Use a sharp knife or a fork, whatever you have, and just pierce each sausages a few times. And I will be adding them to the rest of the mix whilst everything is still cold, but I'll make sure that they go at the bottom of the pan. Medium-high temperature on the hob and start sizzling away. And I'll leave each sausage to brown for about a minute on each side. And literally after a few minutes you can see that they start browning nicely. Secret ingredient. Or not so secret. The other day I stuffed some chicken legs and I used pancetta, and I've been eating pancetta. This is the rind from the pancetta, and I will be adding it to the sausages and the rest of the mix now. Clearly it's not an imperative ingredient, but if you happen to have some, use it. It will enhance the flavor because at the end of the day it's pork. Everything has been sizzling now for a good 6 minutes. Half a glass of dry white wine, and I'll pour it in. I'll turn the temperature up, and I will wait until the alcohol has evaporated, but also most of the wine. I want to have a lovely glazy sort of finish at the end. And this is absolutely perfect. If you look, there's a lovely little glaze now at the bottom, and I'm going to add a full glass of passata. And I've added some water to rinse the glass, so the same amount of passata in water. A little pepper, quantities to taste as always. As I used gammon water to do the beans, I'm not adding any salt, but if you just use water, clearly this is the time to add some salt. Fresh rosemary. I'm going to chop this nice and fine so that I won't find the needles in my mouth when I eat the beans. And in it goes with the sauce. I'll mix everything together now and wait until it boils, which is actually pretty much now. And I will leave them to now simmer for a good 20 minutes without any beans. I will add the beans later and then I will carry on for another 10 minutes. I mentioned at the beginning that this is going to be a fairly sloppy meal, and the best way to eat it is with some bread. And today we have decided to do some ciabatta rolls, but we're going to make them like a bruschetta. I'm going to show you how I do mine today. So slice them in half. I'm going to drizzle some olive oil in each half, and I'll sprinkle a little oregano. Olive oil and oregano are best friends when it comes down to bruschetta. Hot griddle, and I'll place my bread downwards so that the side where the oil and the oregano is faces down. You can push them down with your hands if you want to make sure that they're done properly. A couple of minutes and they're ready to be turned around. There, just enough to toast them. Clove of garlic, cut it in half and just rub it against your bruschetta. And these are ready for when the beans are done. 20 minutes on, and if you look, the sauce has reduced considerably, so it's perfect, and the smell is absolutely amazing. So time to add the beans. I'll mix them in together quite gently so that I do not break my sausages.
This gives a whole new meaning to sausage and beans, the type English people would have. We'd have baked beans, wouldn't we, with sausages?
Possibly. But by the way, I should have said, if you do not want to cook your own beans, you can also use borlotti beans or any beans you like from a tin. But weight-wise, clearly mine weigh just under 600 grams, so you'll have to adjust it depending on how many people you're cooking for. And just like before, now that everything is boiling, I'll turn it down onto medium, number 5, and I will leave them for 10 minutes, and that will effectively get the beans to release their flavor, and everything will combine together, and then it will be ready. And they're done literally 10 minutes, and they're ready.
Lovely.
And this is exactly what you're looking for, a lovely and sloppy consistency. By the way, if you find that they dry up too much while you're cooking them, just add a little warm water to dilute it and you will be okay. Not cold, otherwise you will have to wait until that starts boiling again. And one last touch before they're ready to eat is parsley. I'm going to add a generous amount. And I'll give it one final mix, and as the parsley is uncooked, clearly it will release some tremendous flavor. I'll leave that to cool down for a couple of minutes, and I'm going to show you what I cooked yesterday in preparation for this meal. These are aubergines or eggplants alla scapece. As I mentioned, I cooked them yesterday. They are marinated in mint, olive oil and garlic and salt and pepper, and they've been in the fridge overnight, and they are now ready to be consumed. I will post the video up here, and you will be able to see how to make them. They're dead simple and incredibly delicious.
They are delicious, I can vouch for those.
So I'll put a little piece of aubergine on this side of the bread. Put some beans in here. Let's take a look at the sausages. Oh, they look nice. Let's test the beans first. Borlotti beans are my favorite anyway, but cooked like this, they are absolutely special. They are wonderful. I just had a piece of sausage, just to make Julie's jealous. Glorious, Julie. You wait until you eat this.
Can't wait.
And last but not least, a good bite of the bruschetta with some of my aubergines and sausage.
I fully intend to have a bit of the bruschetta with everything on it.
This is absolutely wonderful. You need to try it. It's the best of Italian cooking to an extent, if you like this sort of meal. And by the way, if you're vegetarian, quite clearly just drop the sausages. And,
or use veggie sausages, I guess.
Or use vegetable sausages, yes. And clearly the rind, you don't need either. And but follow exactly the same instructions, and it will be also very, very nice. Buon appetito e grazie. Ciao.